Greetings and salutations, Rick Copple. Another episode of ArcoLinux Security Guide. Today I'm going to talk about a different window manager from ArcoLinux. Well, it's actually ArcoLinux version of the window manager. They didn't come up with the window manager, but anyway. Yeah, so let's go over the website and see what the VFWM means exactly. Okay, now we're on their web page. The FVWM stands for Virtual Window Manager, but the F is a question mark. Now they have some information down here. They have a frequently asked question. Okay. What does FVWM stand for? It says, fill in the blank whatever word you like at the time. Virtual Window Manager. Rob Nation, the original author of FVWM, doesn't remember what that stood for originally. We have several potential answers and it goes on to list all those things out. But anyway, yeah, I think if the one that I'll mention here that I think is probably obvious what it is. Floating Virtual Window Manager. This is Floating Window Manager. So it's yeah, it's just basically Floating Window Manager, not much to it as far as that part goes. But anyway, we'll see why they call it virtual. I'm curious to find that out myself. So let's go over to the desktop and see what we got. Okay, now we're on the ArcoLinux version of this. It's what it looks like out of the box, pretty much. Now everything looks pretty normal except for, of course, your eyes roll down to what the heck is this thing down here. Yeah, it's kind of odd looking. What it is, it's their way to move around in their virtual workspaces that they have. And instead of calling it a virtual desktop, they call these main, code, and play, and they have labeled here, all those desktops. And you call these inside their pages. You go to different pages in here. But how you move between pages is a little different. You just use your keypad. 2 goes to that desktop. 3 goes to that desktop. Anything beyond that you have to set it up apparently for future version. So if you go Win key 1, you're back to that main desktop. Now those names they have for these are kind of arbitrary. It's what they decided to do as examples, so to speak, so you can set them in the config file whatever you want names to be. I think you also increase the size of them, like go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whatever virtual desktops you want them on the bottom to there. Now this is kind of an interesting concept. You can use your key binding switch between these, I think. There are set key bindings. Check out there which ones work. But they do have a graphical way you can do this. You can go up here. If you right click on this desktop, it's this menu. Basically a system. It modifies the window and stuff. So you aren't able to use super shift. You're able to use super shift any Q to close, super shift C or super C or super Q to close the windows on these. You have to do it through this thing. If I start up a instance of my window, my terminal here, I want to close that. I got to right click, and close it out. Like that. Or I can you notice I also have buttons on here as well. Buttons over here, which you can change the style of these buttons pretty easily. Do that in a minute. We have a big file. Put our page top over in here. Let's see what that shows. 275 megabytes of memory. Not too bad on that front. Pretty chintzy on the memory. Not the lowest we've seen, but one of the lower ones. How you move these between these this way. I found thus far. There may be an easier way, I don't know, but I've not used this window manager before. Disclaimer. So, in other words, there may be other ways to get these things done and more efficient than what I'm showing you. This way I found poking around and messing around with it and reading about it and stuff like that. Anyway, moving to this page, one of the other pages. Yeah. You move it to different desks by using this. Desk main, desk code, desk play, or page. Now, one thing you have to realize is the first page, second page, third page, fourth page. They go vertically instead of horizontally down through here. If I want to move this, send this to a page, so I want to send it to the third one. Well, most people consider the third page, I can say. This moves this down here. You see, it shows this whole where the whole thing's filled in, shows the page you're on. This here shows the if there's anything running in there, any windows in that page on the desktop. While you have all these pages here, you only have 3 desktops on, but 3 times 4 is 12 different pages you have. So one way it's beneficial in that regard is that you can have a lot more pages if you wanted to. Yeah, so if you have a need for a lot of those kind of things, that'd be the floating window manager for you. Now the downside to this, I think, is that think in terms of a 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you can set key binding, but out of the box that's how it works. You also have, aside from that right click menu, right there, there's all these new things which you can do windows on here. You also have a left click menu. These are your traditional program menus. These your pager, Lunar, URX, BT, Sublime, and Logout. Also you have your standard accessories here. Different ones. Graphics. Multimedia. Network. Office. Well, Office, I don't know. WordPerfect. So it says WordPerfect 19. Here's settings and systems. I installed Kitty on this machine, of course. I have that listed there. Add Kitty to the menu. Yeah, it's a manual menu editor. You want to have it added in there. So, yeah. Yes, menu back to this main page. We will go look at let's install Kitty on. Let's start Kitty on here to have a screen size. Lovely. Okay. Now we can go into here. Now the window manager has 2 settings, 2 directories. Now this one has your main directory on your home directory. Here's where the config file resides, is in your home directory. .fewm. Not in the config directory, at least this part isn't. Now you got the themes here. I haven't figured out exactly how to use these themes. Anyway, there's several themes listed in there. And I'm not sure exactly how to use them. Those are all themes it says it has in there. And from what I can tell in the big file, it doesn't use any of those. It just has a set of color schemes for art. Dark blue, I think it was called. So, yeah. I'll show you these more in depth, but I really don't think it's worth it. It really doesn't tell you how to use them. No comments in the files, no readme file, no nothing I can find. The only thing I can find is a way to do it, but I don't know if it applies to the ArcoLinux's version of this or not. Because it involves a third party downloading the one download with ArcoLinux. AXT menu, let's take that real quick. Yeah. They have this interesting way of constructing what you call menus and functions. First you use this destroy function. You add to function after that. Not sure what destroy does. It sounds like it erases and recreates it or something like that every time. Probably clear out the memory or something like that, I guess. I don't know. At any rate, notice over here you go to accessories, development, list all your graphics, multimedia, network, office, settings, and system. This is all your extra menu. It's the menu you get when you left click on desktop. Anyway, there's one for plus. Kitty in quotes, that's what gets displayed. And then the exact kitty is the program. And you can pretty much duplicate what you use here. If I had, which I don't have it on here apparently, but I want to LibreOffice to start up on here, I'd just do something like that, type in for someone with this up in office section. And then go in here and plus section. Add in a writer. Writer. There. Rather than this, leave had it installed on there. You go to the menu and bring that up. That's how you add things in the menu, at least. So that also means a lot of these programs that are listed here may or may not actually be in there. Who knows? Most of them probably should be if ArcoLinux set everything up correctly. But you never know. The conky on this is kind of conky-ish. Yeah, I'll show you that here in a second. No, we're not going to say that, so the only change we made was for LibreOffice menu. Now, if you're looking at this closely, you see Super Shift R restarts BSPWM. It tells you they just basically use the same conk they had in BSPWM, ported over here, and forgot to change that in there because this is a static file, static key bindings. So it's just something they copied over and forgot to change that part of it. I mean, you can change it simply going in there and fixing and doing it yourself, but it's simple to do, but I don't know, I just ignore those things anyway for the most part. It's helpful, so I suppose with some people you can go in there and set up key bindings that you need to use, like, yeah, I've tried the standard ones, doesn't seem to work. Then into that. And that's all it's called, is config. Default configuration file shifts FBWM. It says how it's organized. Okay, so we're going to scan down through this real quick and just take the key points in. Sets environment variables, clear variables, reports functions / library and other things in here. You notice it says here it has themes. There's the points in this. This point sets environment variable, the themes directory. Doesn't help you much so because it doesn't usually this only place the whole file is themes. FBWM themes comes up at. With a figure. Images folder. Now here's images folder. This sets your standard applications. And you set those here. Use the Firefox browser. Now here's where you can set your icons. These are the window buttons up here. It's detailing about. Now I tried this W10, which I assume is supposed to duplicate Windows 10 buttons. Looks pretty cool actually. So to change one of these sets out, basically delete, uncomment that, comment in the one you just had. Then when we reboot it, reset it, it'll actually change these buttons some more bigger actually. That's one of the reasons I like it, but it also blends with the theme better, I think, pretty much. There's functions for various tasks. This is like your auto start, it doesn't actually have auto start file. It's where you have to just put anything you want to start. Now by scale, usually default was FEH. Even though I had a separate scale, it didn't scale at one time, so I decided to what the heck, I'll just put nitrogen here, so I know nitrogen is installed in the system. So I put this line, add this line here, exact nitrogen, -- restore, ampersand, and it works beautifully. And I ran nitrogen, reset wallpapers, which we'll look at in a minute. Here's your key binding file. They use SXHKD. Configuration for that though is in big FEM3, then SXHKD and SXHKDHRC. Three sets files. It's a little bit different in that regard. You'll see it has some window management key bindings in this file, which I'm thinking like you are a desktop without a Bluetooth port. They have Bluetooth installed on the desktop. Coming out this one, Blueberry tray. Don't need that run in the background, taking the precious memory. Now I'm going to get rid of this conky here simply by commenting out this line, conky line. We'll continue on looking at the rest of it. It also starts up the menu maker. Yes, menu maker, XDG menu maker, which basic configuration file we looked at. Here's some window binding, mouse functions. Use the mouse more than most window managers that I've used. Most window managers seem to have key bindings for most of their activities. This one doesn't seem to do as much. This one, like I said, doesn't seem to have a close function on it. Then here's a set background for which you can use in addition, but it sounds like it's kind of limited what it can do. Probably why ArcoLinux opted to comment all this out and use FEH. It reminds me very much. I want to try this. I want to comment see what it does, but I'm not even sure what the background menu is on this thing. If it's referring to the background that it has in there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 backgrounds, this isn't the only background you use. Command click, change this, toggle title. Here's where you set your desktop styles. Now it's 3x3. Not sure exactly what that means. But anyway, that's where you can change your headings. But I want that to be indents to the code. Just put it like that. Then when you boot up and reboot, log into this, you'll see it change code to internet down there. Now I wonder desktop size. That's the rest of 3x3. I'm going to run a quick experiment. I haven't tried this, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to do this 4x4 and see what we get. 4x4. What happens? Huh? Then I suppose we need to put here desktop name. Let's call this desktop code, I guess. Okay, so yeah, so we'll put code in there, see what happens. That's what should happen. I would think it'd be 4x4 being 4 desktops instead of 3. That's what 4x4 means, because 3x3 didn't seem to apply to pages. So there's 4 pages, not 3 on every desktop. So we'll see what happened, okay? Now, moving on, we've got end scrolls. Now this does have snapping and tiling, but it's manual time, much like Linux Mint has stuff like that, other desktop entries. And here's more mouse functions. Color sets. Now this is the only place you can see a theme listed on in here. And all of those set colors. And some descriptions here. There's art deco theme blue. So this sets color stuff. Now I'll show you in a minute how you can adjust that somewhere. I can't tell that it did anything different though. Suppose you have to come out all this stuff in order for that to happen. I'm gonna try that and see what happens. We're see what happens on a lot of stuff. I haven't tried this either, so who knows what's good. Go through here and cover each of these. And we'll see if we set. Okay, there, I finished. Now we set we'll see what happens when we set a light session. What colors and light scales themes we get out of this. The right click menu when you right click on the desktop is what you get. And generates the menu first. XDG menu. Program menus. Background menus. Background is located in the home directory images background. Notice all that's commented out. All those backgrounds are up here are all commented out. So it's obviously not using those. Window operation menus, restart menus, sub menu. Any other menus here you can look at these and now probably may want. Your modules, keyboard bindings, window key plus R key moves next desktop in the desired direction. And move active window with window key Alt plus arrows. Then tone down the Windows key plus Alt key. You move the arrows around, move your stuff over this site to next desktop. We have this. And it's a run the page. Move back to moving down that one. This one's down there now. Interesting. Pages are kind of like that. You just kind of like, they're kind of joined, it's like the next screen down, so to speak. maximize. And maybe we're going to save this by, and we'll close out this. And we'll see what happens. Should have an extra thing that says change this internet, and it should have code move over to this end. The fourth thing in here is just code if it works like I think it's going to. I don't know if it will, because let's play around and see what happens. And should have a window buttons on their change. And I don't remember any other changes made, but yeah. See what happened. So let's log out. And log back in. And change the internet. Have to capitalize I though. Oh, I see, by 4x4. Oh, I see what it means. Yeah, the 3x3 simply meant the 1, 2, 3 columns. 5, 1, 2, 3. So by 4x4, it made 4 columns. And this was they have 4 spaces. You have 6 pages for each. The 3 main of them. We got some of us obviously had another desktop up there. So play around, figure it out, see what happens. Now we're going to show you the thing. Now you can bring up D menu on here, but Rofi's not installed on the box. So you hit meta D, nothing happens. See, nothing happens. But if you hit Shift Super D, you get the D menu up at the top there. So use that to get an action. There's all the wallpapers you got. Select these here. That's our standard ArcoLinux one. It's right here. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, like designs basically. The one that looks vaguely interesting to me is this one right there. However, now you can have base standard ArcoLinux ones. These are all in the user /share/ background section. And this one I thought was most interesting, to me at least. So yes, it's on scale, so no matter what sizes you fit it to. So I'm curious what this one shows. This was like scale. Anyway, it's weird that everything stretched out because it had to squish it vertically. In that case, I'd probably say zoomed or something on this one. Zoom fill. Let me say more normal. Alright. There's our Windows icons. Oh yeah, we got this thing down. That looks nice, doesn't it? So you can't see it playing until it's like long again, but it's kind of nice. However, I think I'm going to use this one. Use this to make scale of it. Now, in order to get this Windows look weird right now. especially buds. Buds grayish, more grayish up here. As we knocked all its colors. Looks different. Buds don't look as cool as I originally wanted to be. So we can run LX appearance. We can change it up a bit. We make this darker. I think those don't take effect to log out, log back in, so I'm going to log out, log back in again. I cut the section out so you see what it looks like. Just wait for me to do it. And we can see looks like well, I would recommend not commenting out those color sections. So I'm going to go do that real quick. I'll cut out this next part. I'm coming down and see if it looks right. Okay, we're back after me uncommenting out the color scheme that I commented out earlier. Okay, the LX appearance didn't change the color of this. This was white before. So that's good. I'm going to set it to a darker theme there, generally speaking. But question is, did bug come in? Did we change the look? Yeah, that's what I remember. And you have Windows 10 on the standard color scheme that it's darker than it was before. That actually works pretty good. That's a bigger, looks nicer, blends in with the theming better, I think. So I don't know why they chose that one to go with, but there you go, there it is. Now, floating window managers are pretty cool overall. Of course, I prefer dynamic tiling window managers. So now it's time for us to go check out spreadsheet, see what I think about all this stuff. Here on spreadsheet, there's a web page, then you access information about it. Is it operation out of the box? Well, yes, sorta, mostly. I mean, there's some things like the window key bindings don't seem to work on this so well. Couldn't quit on programs using any key binding. I had to close out using the close buttons. They did happen. And also you close out using menus if you wanted to. I use the right click menu, go down there and hit close. You're still on the title bar of the program that you're working on for that to happen. Floating window manager. User friendly. I initially gave it a 7, probably I'm going to break back right down to 6, I think. So I use the word friendly, but if you want to change anything, it's not very friendly. Then you gotta go, well, then I go to the .config /fvwm to work on it. You go to go to the config file there, go config file, and change your key bindings in this hkdrc file directory in that directory. Or do I go to the configuration file, which is in the .fmbm directory in your home directory? It's kind of like the window manager that had them split like that. I think it's a little confusing to do that. So I'm not sure the purpose of doing that, but it's what it is, so it's not quite user friendly enough. Now, does it have a GUI menu? Well, obviously, a very good GUI menu. Better than most of them I've seen on here. Right click, left click, brings up 2 different menus, and pick which one you want. So yeah, pretty good in that regard. That probably makes it a little bit more user friendly, so I'm kind of debating whether to leave it at 7 or move it to 6. Memory footprint 294 megabytes out of 3.82 gigabytes. Pretty good. I think it was 270 something when we looked at it. It was 294 first time I checked it out, so that's why that's there. Then your configuration file is located, of course, in the home directory under .fewm/config. And I'm not sure what programming language it is. It's probably the same programming language as it seems like some of this sort of version of Bash. It's had Bash qualities to it, but it also had functions. Obviously, some third party or their own programming modifications to Bash. Some along those lines. Or like the CWM's one that had the two. They're similar. Some people are going to be confused by the those workspaces down there. They label as desktops and pages. It's a little bit complicated of a system. You can get your mind wrapped around. That's the one reason why I went ahead and knocked it down to 6, because I think that's confusing for new Windows users who aren't familiar with these kind of concepts, that kind of thing. Window Manager users. I mean, if you've been in Linux any time at all, you know something about workspaces. And most people, a lot of Linux users don't even use those things. 2 files that have key bindings in, more Windows controls here, Windows controls. This has all your programs and all of those kind of things, just like I discussed with CWM. And list key bindings? Nope. Bet you guys are conking, that's not completely 100% accurate, it's all pulled from BSPWM, obviously. Another reason why I think it's not too user friendly. 7 bar info. And if it's 7, it's got pretty bar info on it. Not as fancy, or doesn't give you as much info, but it gives you substantial info. Themes available? No, yes. Yes, but you can't use them, so not really. Probably should say yes, but no, or something like that. Yes, but no. In other words, you have some themes on there, but I can't figure out how to use them. Find documentation on it, can't find any help on it. Now, if you went to the standard FBMWM setup, you probably could have used themes, but I think those are ArcoLinux themes over there, and it's not real clear how to use them or how you can affect it. So if you figure it out, you can put it down, make a blog post or something, or a video about it, and point to people to it. That'd be probably helpful. Otherwise, so I'm going to call this floating virtual window manager because it makes sense to me, makes logical sense as floats, since it's a floating window manager instead of a dynamic tiling window manager. I gave it overall a score 7, which is the same as a CWM. It's not too bad. I mean, you just out of the box once you kind of get the concept of what that boxes are down there. The other thing, bad thing about the box, they kind of get in the way of some things. Or not get in the way, but you get you covered up so in order to see workspaces. Unlike, see with this, it's all about the polybar up here. There's all workspaces up there. You see what programs, I got program there, program, first 3 workspaces there. Yeah, but you can't see workspaces when you're in ArcoLinux. Down there, Windows can cover them up and stuff like that. Maximize or full size screen or something like that. Yeah, you you can see those window manager boxes. That's the downside of that. It's kind of positive that you can have a lot of workspaces if you wanted to, but well, it's not real clear how to. It's clear how to change the names of those boxes, but beyond that, work pages, as they call them, desktops, as they call them. But yeah, aside from that, it kind of seems like it gets in the way more and it's not as convenient in that regard as a standard workspaces. So I gave it overall score 7, which right now we got 5 for DWM, 7 for CWM, okay, 6 for BSPWM, and 8, 9 for Austin. Alrighty, so that's floating virtual window manager, as I'm calling it. I guess you use whatever ref word you want, that's what I'm going to use. So, I mean, it makes sense to me why you call it floating. It's supposed to be fantastic and all those things. They don't know what they call their own window manager, so it's kind of like it's free open source. So you call it what you want. so that's floating window virtual window manager, and it seems to be pretty good overall. I mean, I say it's pretty good, but there's some things about it that are a little quirky, like the key bindings don't seem to work very well, or you can't figure out what the key bindings are. I had to like closing windows. I don't know what the key binding for that was. I mean, they never explained what WT meant. But just pushing the meta and C didn't seem to do anything, so I wasn't really sure what else to push there. And I tried all the standard key binding modes that ArcoLinux uses to do that, which normally just a meta Q, but it didn't seem to work that way. A meta C or something like that. Meta shift C or Q. So I don't know if it's some conflict with that key binding or what, but yeah, some of those things will work exactly well. You can't close it using menus and you're in the close button. It does have close button keys unless you get rid of those on there. I saw a spot in the configuration file where you can't get rid of that. If you want a title bar, that kind of thing, you can get rid of the title bar coming out of that whole section. Fun. In this case, I'd say title bar is helpless, but you can't use your key binding to close it very easy. You can always go there and click on it, but that's a little bit of a hassle too. We had pretty good showing for last week's Couple of the Linux Guru guy, and so we've had 2 good weeks, pretty good. And look forward next week, next Sunday at 4 o'clock p.m. You can join in the fun. So until next time, may the Linux Force be with you. Bye.